Out of Seattle, Washington, here in the United States. Welcome to my morning Forex trading show. It's Thursday, August 21st. I'm going to keep the show simple this morning, just get right to price. Let's see, show you my screen here. Okay. All right, so this is the euro and the pound. And real quickly, as far as events in the world, first of all, it's summertime. And really, there's one of the things that happens during summer, especially now that the world's just a little bit more stable. It's certainly not out of the woods, but it's more stable. So a lot of big investors and traders, they take a lot of time off in the summer, spend time with their family, their kids, and explore and do whatever. And that'll pretty much turn around the third and fourth week in August, and the market will get a vision and kind of look for some kind of vision for the future, and we'll start to get a feel for what that is. But what happens is you've got the central bank trying to keep currencies from competing. You've got people kind of unplugged for the summer, and so we end up with a little less liquidity, a little less volatility, and a little more indecision. And but the other thing that's happened in the world is most of the news out of the Eurozone is not good. It's mostly poor outlook on things. The UK has a lot of positives, so much that they tried to gun a long-term trend to the top side. That's pretty much been reversed at this point. Just because their data is not as good as they had hoped it would be. In addition, whether it's true or not, the U.S. started hinting around yesterday about possibly raising their interest rates sooner, and that's really what we're kind of hoping for, is for one currency to show a little bit more competitiveness than another. That creates some divergence in the markets and some competition, but what we're actually seeing is that really not happening at all. We're seeing the reverse of that happening this week in terms of what we're hearing from central banks. So, just strictly looking at price, this is the euro. This trend so far, if you follow my mouse, is moved down about 140 pips or so. This is totally in line with technicals and fundamentals. So pretty much our traders, every time they get a setup, they've been selling the euro. Not a lot of optimism to the top side. Right now, what we see with price, if I zoom in on it a little bit here, this is a 30-minute chart. I see price made a move here. Now, I can't see whether that pulled back farther here during that 30 minutes, so I need to zoom in. One of the things you really want to be careful about in Forex trading is you don't want to trade something because someone says it works. You need to trade something because you understand it. And the only way you're ever going to anticipate what's going to happen in the future with good accuracy is if you know human behavior. Chart patterns, candle patterns, indicators, all that stuff, those are all symbols of human behavior. They're not the actual human behavior. What we want to look at is the repetitive human behavior. That's the cornerstone of all logic in terms of making decisions about the future. So I want to look at this candle here. I can put a vertical line over it like that. Turn that down to 5 minutes. And we can see that it looks like price did actually make a move without stopping. So it started here. You always want to look where the momentum began that breaks the forward move. And it did not pull back. So look at this pattern that we look for, that I've talked about for years. Strong move, pull back to 38.2 or more. That's the 38.2 line. It's within a fraction of a pip, and it pushes again. So we can see that move played out. So coming back to the 30-minute, this moved perfectly, and then what happens here is we get another little move of 16 pips. So showing some good strength. This move was how big? About 37 pips. So this was a really great move if you were there and watching it closely. And then this next move that occurs, the next wave that expands this trend is only 16 pips. So it's half the size. And so even though the trend has been moving quite a bit, it shows a lot of strength coming down, and then pulls back, pushes again, makes a small move. And so when traders see trends getting weaker, not stronger, that's when these corrections occur. It's not really much more complicated than that. And so now they're waiting for some information to decide. And if you're considering a trade, for high probability, it needs to advance below 132.43 here, or we change to the top side and move the other way. So that's the euro this morning. We need a move here. It's probably going to take a while to reverse this trend and set up anything here on the top side. So that's what we'd be looking for there. Moving over to the pound, we did have, as I kind of talked about in the opening, we did have some significant events unfold. The Bank of England really, you can tell from their language that they really want to compete with their currency, but I think they're in a global environment where they're not going to be able to do that. So, just if I pop out to the daily for just a moment, you can see that they broke out of this. Well, let's go to the weekly. There was a 5-year range the price had been stuck in, and they were breaking to the top side, and range is a little bit higher than that. See, I'm having trouble grabbing that because it's so big. Let me just get another one. It's kind of right in this area. You can see it's still not able to grab it. Anyway, it's a little bit lower than that. Right about there. Okay, so you can see it's dropped back into that range. So the bulls have kind of been beat there, and then as I said, the U.S. came out yesterday and started hinting at higher interest rates, while the pound was going, well, maybe we're not going to be raising them as soon as we thought. So they move closer together. In other words, less competitive. So that just really throws water on the flames of a long-term trend. And keep in mind, guys, there is no long-term trend. What we need for a long-term trend is we need a vision. Oh, wait, let me go back and get rid of that. We need a vision of a different future. You have no long-term trend without a vision and a belief in a particular future. And so we've got to kind of stick with what's happening today and this week, because that's basically the depth of sight that most of the market has. Hopefully that makes sense to you. In terms of price movement, right now this trend has moved about 150 pips. So that's obviously the context is there's some reasons for this change. When this move was made, there was quite a strong correction. The buyers still were not giving up, but the fundamentals and the technicals are weighing against the pound right now. So another thing that can affect price movement down, if I was to put the euro and the pound dollar up here, another thing that's contributing to moves to the downside is the dollar is still the reserve currency. So when there's increased risk, perceived risk in the world, as part of a risk aversion strategy, traders will buy the dollar as part of that. And so that also contributes to moves to the downside. So right now we have exhaustion to the downside for the euro, with a little bit of correction happening here now. Lots of moves to the downside for the pound. But like I said, the news of that long-term trend is just kind of setting in right now, so we might actually see some bigger moves down. But on the pound, if you're going to think about taking a trade there, you're going to have to wait for price to get below here, 165.65, because essentially the behavior that we look for to repeat, and you can see it happening here, boom, 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 it's already played out. So these guys don't know. There's no fist coming at them for you to go, oh, that guy's probably going to duck, right? There's no signals, right? So price is going to either need to reverse up in here and give us a setup, or move below 65.65. All right, so moving back to me, if you guys want to learn more about my training program, you can learn about that at forexartofwar.com. Just write an email to me. I do meet with people free and talk to you about what goes into trading, what it takes for you to learn. I think it's really a good idea to um, uh, to learn about what you actually need to do in order to have the skills to do this, instead of just kind of going, oh, this sounds exciting, I think I'll learn a system. It doesn't work like that. Um, Also, everything I share with you on my show is for your educational purposes only, so please keep that in mind. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. To our members, I'll see you guys in our live trading room coming up here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Cheers, everyone.